What's up everyone, it's Tony here and welcome back to the Yacht Addiction YouTube channel. The yacht in front of us is a 2009 Lazzara 116. It's had a very extensive refit throughout 2022, and guys, the 116 from Lazzara was the flagship of the Lazzara range. This was built in the United States. Lazzara yachts are no longer built there, but I do have a tour of the most recent and up-to-date Lazzara yacht, so I'll link that down below. This is a great example of a top-of-the-line classic Lazzara yacht, although 2009 is still pretty modern for, all things considered. All the Lazzara yachts, they were production hulls, but most of the interiors could be customized. The length is 116 feet, the beam is 23 feet and 1 inch, and it has a draft of 5 feet and 6 inches. So before we make our way on board via the steps over there, I did want to point out, back here you have this huge hydraulic swim platform, and then they have one of these opened. They actually call these the transom pods, and you can house a Riva jet ski in each of these pods. You could obviously house another type, but that's the type that they have. So one thing that's really cool with all the water toys, they're able to hide every single water toy. They have 2 sea bobs on board, there's a dive compressor, like I said, the 2 jet skis. So the fact that you can store a jet ski in here, close this up, and you have a very streamlined look, that's very impressive. So you don't have to have any of the toys up on the upper deck. And then I'm told for charters, there's also a step, a custom-made step. So when this is lowered, there's an additional step. So if you're elderly or you can't walk very well, it's easy to get on and off the tender to go on excursions on land. So it's just a nice little touch there that the crew mentioned. And guys, talking to the crew, I know I'm rambling, so we'll get on board in a second, but the crew, they take such great care of this yacht. I was talking to the chief engineer and he was telling me every little thing that was refit, it's in impeccable condition, and the crew, they really go above and beyond to take care of it. So we're gonna slip our shoes off. And now we're gonna make our way on board onto the aft deck. You have the bench seating that wraps around and then the 4 additional chairs. And then you do have the bar area over here as well with your refrigeration back here and all the built-in bar stools. And then you also have the TV mounted right up here. So let's make our way inside. These doors are extremely smooth, very easy to open with one hand. So that's just a little thing, but I always like to call that out. You have very interesting styling in here. You have the sofa over here. Then on the other side, additional chairs, and also a huge TV up here. Then you also have some pretty decent windows on the sides as well. The whole floor-to-ceiling window concept wasn't necessarily a thing back in 2009, except on rare occasions, but these are still a decent size for natural light. And also the owner just has a really interesting personal style as well, which I really like. It's not, you don't always want to see just cookie cutter yachts that aren't used or aren't unique. It's nice to see things change it up a little bit. Of course, you have extra storage along here in the sideboards, and then here is your formal dining table. This yacht has a very successful charter history. That's how a lot of these older Lazzara yachts are used. But this yacht would also be great for private use, don't get me wrong. So, interestingly enough, with the layout, you actually get down to the guest cabins by this staircase over here. On more modern yachts, most of the super yachts over 100 feet, you're used to me going this direction, but the cabins are actually down that way. You do have a side access door right here. Here is the day head. And then here, the crew member, they called this the doghouse. All jokes aside, you have this huge wine fridge, additional refrigeration over here. Here are those sea bobs. So like I said, all the toys can be tucked away. And you just have tons of storage space. I'm crouched down a little bit, obviously, but this is a really great storage compartment. And then stepping all the way forward, these yachts are known for their beautiful country kitchens, and this one has exactly that. They did a fantastic job modernizing and keeping this updated over the years. Look at these huge refrigerators and freezers. Looks like someone was baking cookies. They must have knew I was coming. And then of course your dishwasher, sink. So of course you have all the appliances you need in the country kitchen. And And then there's also this dining table right here. So if you wanted to put out a little breakfast spread, just have a morning cup of coffee, or even the crew could hang out in here. It's a great versatile space. And while we're up here, we will check out the 5th cabin, because the 4 guest cabins are back on that other staircase. And this is kind of a flex space. This can be used as a 5th cabin. So this can hold up to 10 charter guests. It's obviously finished to a really high degree. You have the beautiful woodwork, all the built-ins up here. And then it does have the ensuite. And then sometimes this yacht is only chartered for 8. It just depends on how the crew is set up at the moment. And when you're only having 8 guests on board, whether you're using this privately or as an 8-person charter, the captain can take over this space, and then you have more space for the crew in the back. So pretty flexible arrangement there. It's always nice to see. There's also a closet. This is more for general storage for the kitchen, but you also have storage here for the actual closet. So back up to the country kitchen. And then before we head up to the pilot house, let's wrap around to those guest cabins. But we'll give you one more shot of this main salon. I'll probably talk more about it later, but guys, honestly, I just have to say it now. The crew of this yacht is exceptional. They were so welcoming and so nice when we were doing the walkthrough ahead of time. So I always like to call them out. You know, they work extremely hard, both when on charter, but also during these shows. They basically have to get up early, clean this yacht every single day, making sure everything looks spotless, because you never know when the next owner will step on board to purchase it. So I just want to shout out to the crew of QTR. Down this staircase, you have a really large landing for a yacht of this size. We'll start forward. You have one cabin right here. And it's a little dark. We do have all the lights on, but just the general sense, even with the lights on, it's kind of dark and moody in here. You have the TV mounted up overhead. And then here is the ensuite. And then let me open up one of these. I'm not going to open up every closet, but I know you like to see them. And it's cedar lined. Here is another cabin, mirrored to the last, so very similar. And another thing to keep in mind on this yacht, like I said, if you look at the brochure, it's a very extensive list of everything that's been redone. The chief engineer was talking about how they had serviced everything ahead of schedule. The generators were just completely rebuilt. The 2 water makers were just serviced. There's so much to go over, but like I said, in the brochure, you can see every single detail. It's going to be impossible for me to include it all in the video. And we went to the ensuite first, but this is a really cool room because this is the kids' room. If we turn around looking at the actual room, you have the beautiful bunk beds. I don't think I've ever called bunk beds beautiful before, but I mean, look at that. And I also wanted to mention this is a custom option for this room to accommodate more charter guests. Oftentimes these older Lazzaras, this was used as a little den or office space, but you obviously could customize it for a cabin as well. In every single room, I'm sure you noticed they have the iPads, so all your different systems in the rooms can be controlled by those. And we save the best for last. The under the stairs storage. I think it's too dark to even see. Don't worry about that. Obviously, I was kidding. Here is the owner's suite through these double doors. Talk about beautiful woodwork. This is the full beam, of course. Large TV mounted up on the wall. They have a walk-in closet over here. And then your dressing table, drawers on each side. And then here, check out this ensuite. You have the sink, toilet. What am I doing? You have the toilet, losing it. You have the sink and the toilet, the jetted tub, the walk-through shower, And then the same exact thing on the other side. You can see it's just wide open. That's not a mirror. That's the opposite side of the ensuite. Then on the far side of the room, you have a little settee right here and then additional storage. We have some clients coming, so let's keep it moving. I don't remember if I showed this before, to be honest. So you have a laundry room right here, and there is another laundry room back in the crew area, and that's definitely a smart super yacht feature. The reason they have two separate areas is oftentimes the crew, their clothes will get much dirtier because of all the mechanical work they're doing and the cleaning, and the owner's clothes, you know, they don't get nearly as dirty. So that's why sometimes it's smart to have those two separate washer and dryer sets. This is a raised pilot house design, of course. So let's step into the raised pilot house. L-shaped seating wrapping around the table. Your captain's chair right here. This is a Stid helm chair. There's an additional stool built in right here, so the captain has his little office space. And all of your controls, of course. And if you're enjoying this 116-foot Lazzara SuperYacht tour so far, make sure you like the video and subscribe if you're new, and comment down below anything that drives engagement. That's always particularly helpful for the channel. Helps me grow. So of course, I greatly appreciate it, and it's absolutely free. So, additional Stid helm chairs up here, the double on the far side, and then you have a second helm station up here on the flybridge. Currently they have the film zippered in, but this could of course be opened up if you want the wind blowing in your hair. You have a hardtop over the first half of the flybridge. And over here we have a little booth seating area. You have another bar, so 3 bar stools built in. You have your sink, refrigerator, ice maker, everything you need for the crew to cater to these areas. Then stepping back, this is really cool. We have seats on each side and tables, all in front of this extremely large hot tub, and this is an oversized hot tub for the size. It's a full size, I should say. But you do have 2 water makers on board, and they are very efficient. They're able to produce almost 120 gallons per hour. So whether you're on charter, it doesn't matter if you leave the shower on, you got the hot tub running, you have no problems keeping up with your water demand with the 2 different water makers. There's also the grill built in over here. And I almost forgot, there is a TV right over here. And then behind the hot tub, this is just some freestanding furniture, so you could set this up however. We have this huge set of furniture. You could use these as sun pads, just lie out. You have the umbrellas as well, so you can get some shade from the sun in this area if you want it. And that is the flybridge. Pretty nice for a yacht of its age and its size. Like I said, Lazzara yachts, they're still around. Some of the yachts that they make are still engineered in the US, but they're built in Turkey now. But this one was built in the United States. So next we're gonna head up to the bow, and then we're gonna go into the engine room and the crew area. You have a side boarding gate, of course. We came on board one of the side boarding gates, so that's the other. And if there's some crazy wind noise, I apologize. The Fort Lauderdale show, all week it's supposed to be incredibly windy. So unfortunately, nothing I can do about that. I didn't want to breeze past it. You do have a side door right here. The intro in particular, I know it was pretty windy, so if I had to voice over that, apologize for that, but it is what it is. Now up here, you have the QTR bell. And then it's mostly business end up here, but you do have the little bench right here. So it's another little sun pad area, and it's like adorable. Look at the little, just a tiny little shade over this section. Obviously this isn't the biggest bench, so it's just kind of funny that you have this tiny little sunshade, but hey, if you need it, you got it. And then if you need to get up to this area, it looks like they do have some grip tape or some type of adhesive surface, so you do have grip when you're walking up there. That's just a great safety feature for the crew. And there also is, in that forward cabin, you do have the hatch for ventilation as well. I love the curved staircase. It's a very classic design. It looks really good, really stylish. And we'll just step back onto the swim platform so you can see what the transom looks like. You also have the umbrellas on each side. And this is what it looks like in one of those transom pods for your jet ski. That custom step is right in here. I mentioned that in the intro, so I'll just show you where that is. Right here, in the crack here, let me see if I can get you an angle of it. When the swim platform is lowered, it might be hard to see, but there's two little brackets, so you can add that additional step. So if anyone is impaired or they're old and they can't walk very well, it has handrails as well. So that's just a really smart design, making it very accessible for everyone. And part of the refit, they actually recently completed, they resurfaced all of these crew areas. And I know it's a little dark in here, I apologize for that. But you have the little crew mess, so it's a kind of an L shape. We got a curve there barely, but you have the seating area, the table. You have another staircase to get down here. Then on the other side, here's that second set of laundry. They have a refrigerator, microwave, sink, and some storage space, as well as a little TV. And then as mentioned, up to 5 crew. So we have the 2 right here, and then a Pullman berth. So obviously this is kind of a smaller crew cabin. Don't worry, I'm told the crew member is only 4'11", the one who sleeps up here, so they fit just fine. But they don't always run this with 3 crew. That's only if you're maxed out with the guest cabins and you're chartering 10, so 3 need to sleep back here. That's just, it's not always the case. Normally, you could have 1 or 2 sleeping in here. Then on the other side, you could technically sleep 3 in here because this is a double bed. So there's a lot of flexibility. You could run this boat with just 3 crew, or you could bump it up to 5 if you want. And theoretically, you could also bump it up to 6 if the captain is going to use that forward cabin. But realistically, I think 4 or 5 is probably what you're going to be running it with the captain still sleeping up there. Now we're going to head into the engine room. It's through this door. I know I talked a lot about all of the refit work done. The generators were completely rebuilt. The AC was just redone in here. So you can see that vent up here. This AC vent is blasting. It feels great. And that's always, I know for an owner, you're not always thinking about that, but it's good to take care of your crew. You want your crew to be comfortable while they're working down in here. And you'll see the 2 generators here and here. Over here, let's see if I can climb across. In this cabinet is the water maker. The 2 water makers, actually. Just recently redone and serviced. All right, now let's talk about the engines. These are MTU engines. They're large, as you can see. These are MTU 2000 series engines. They're 16 cylinders, 2,000 horsepower each. Your top speed is 26. You can cruise at 20, that's what the brochure said. The crew told me typically they cruise at 12 knots, and that's because they normally tow their tender. So they tow a pretty sizable tender. So they normally cruise around at 12 knots. And at that 12 knots while towing, they're looking at an estimated 1,600 to 1,800 nautical miles of range. All right, guys, so we've seen every single area on board QTR. This truly is a special yacht. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below, and we will catch you next time.